350,000 sold. Audi's best-selling electric car already outsells the Q5 in half the markets it competes in, and this facelift changes the one thing the old car was losing on: the interior. What the new Q4 e-tron performance does to the cabin rewrites where premium starts in this segment, and at €53,500, roughly $58,300 at current rates, it makes everything priced above it harder to justify. I expected a typical mid-cycle refresh. What I found was closer to a generation change from the dashboard forward. The exterior changes are subtle enough that if you park the old car next to this one, the differences would take a second look to find. The single-frame grille is now painted in body color rather than silver, and on its own that is a small change. But it pulls the face of the car closer to the Q6 e-tron and the A6 e-tron in a way the old chrome surround never could. The S-Line variant adds vertical blades to the corners of the front and rear bumpers in matte selenite silver, and if you specify the black exterior package, those blades switch to high-gloss Mythos black. Air intakes ahead of the front wheels are functional now, directing airflow around the tires rather than through a decorative grille. At the rear, new second-generation digital OLED taillights use 284 individual segments across 6 panels to create animated patterns that shift multiple times per second. They are configurable through the infotainment system in 4 different light signatures, and one of those signatures stays in motion even while the car is driving. The proximity detection system built into the taillights is a safety detail worth knowing about. If a vehicle approaches too closely while the Q4 is stationary, the rear lights change pattern to warn the driver behind. This is the kind of feature that larger Audis have offered for a while, and seeing it filter down to the entry-level electric model is a signal of where the brand is heading. A redesigned roof spoiler on the SUV and a new rear spoiler on the Sportback both improve aerodynamics, and 3 new exterior colors join the palette. The interior is where this facelift earns its keep. Audi has replaced the previous dashboard layout with what it calls the digital stage, and the difference is not incremental. An 11.9-inch instrument cluster sits behind the steering wheel, paired with a 12.8-inch MMI touch display angled toward the driver. The tile-based interface is cleaner and faster than the outgoing system, and the graphics have caught up with what the Q6 e-tron offers at a higher price. For the first time in this segment, a 12-inch passenger display is available, the largest Audi has fitted in any of its cars, with a privacy screen that dims the content from the driver's angle. If the passenger display is not specified, Audi fills the space with a premium decorative panel. An augmented reality head-up display projects navigation arrows and driver assistance prompts onto the windshield in 2 layers, with the AR content appearing to float roughly 30 feet ahead of the car. The soft wrap material stretches from the doors across the full width of the dashboard in a single unbroken surface, and where the old car had visible material transitions, this one reads as a cohesive premium cabin. The center console rises from the dash to the rear seats, creating a cockpit-like architecture that the previous Q4 lacked entirely. 2 cooled wireless charging pads, each delivering 15 watts, sit in the console. 2 USB-C ports live under the center armrest, and 2 more are optionally available in the rear. Rear cabin space is where the Q4 has always punched above its size, and the facelift does not change the formula. The MEB platform pushes the wheels to the corners, which gives rear passengers legroom that rivals cars a full segment above. Knee clearance behind a 6-foot driver is generous enough that adults can cross their legs. 2 USB-C ports in the rear mean devices stay charged on longer journeys, and vertical air vents in the B-pillars keep airflow reaching the second row. The seats fold in a 40-20-40 split. Where the rear cabin falls short is headroom in the Sportback. If you are above 6 feet and sitting upright, the sloping roofline gets close enough to notice. The SUV body does not have this compromise. Opening the boot, you get roughly 18.2 cubic feet of cargo space. Fold the rear seats, and that climbs to around 52.5 cubic feet. The electric tailgate is now standard across the range, which the previous car charged extra for. What changes daily life here is the domestic power socket built into the cargo area. It delivers 2.3 kilowatts continuously, enough to charge an e-bike or run a camping fridge. This is the first Audi with bidirectional charging, and I have covered cars at twice this price that do not offer it. The new permanently excited synchronous motor on the rear axle is the efficiency story of this facelift. Silicon carbide semiconductors in the pulse inverter reduce switching losses, and a newly developed low-viscosity lubricant cuts friction in the transmission. Audi claims 10% greater efficiency overall, and in cold weather, the lubricant alone extends range by up to 7.5 miles on a full charge. The result on paper is 359 miles of WLTP range for the SUV, roughly 19 more miles than before. How much of that translates to real-world driving depends on temperature, speed, and terrain, but the direction is meaningful. 282 horsepower and 402 pound-feet of torque go to the rear wheels only. 0 to 60 takes approximately 6.2 seconds, and top speed is electronically limited to 112 miles per hour. There is a design choice worth understanding in the charging architecture. Audi optimized the performance variant's new battery cells for longevity and efficiency rather than peak charging throughput. The maximum DC charging speed is 165 kilowatts, which is 10 kilowatts lower than the outgoing model. Day-to-day, the improved efficiency means fewer stops. But when you do stop, the session from 10 to 80% takes approximately 28 minutes rather than the 27. The Quattro Performance variant achieves at 185 kilowatts. For most owners charging overnight on a Level 2 home unit, this trade-off will never register. For road trippers who rely on DC fast charging, it is worth knowing that the car one tier above, the Quattro Performance, charges faster. The Quattro also increases the towing capacity from 2,205 pounds to 3,968 pounds, which is a meaningful jump if you tow a small trailer or boat. Beyond V2L in the boot, an optional adapter on the charging port adds a 3.6 kilowatt camping socket. In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, the car can also feed stored energy back into the household grid through a compatible DC wall box, making the Q4 a rolling home battery for anyone with solar panels. Audi's intelligent assistant now handles natural language voice commands, and ChatGPT integration lets passengers ask questions, draft messages, or look up information conversationally. Plug-in charge comes standard, so at compatible DC stations, the car authenticates itself when the cable connects, starts charging, and handles billing automatically. Adaptive Driving Assistant Plus is available for highway use, assisting with acceleration, braking, distance management, and lane changes above 56 miles per hour. 4 surround view cameras and train parking assist are optional, and the traffic sign recognition system now detects construction zones, yield signs, and pedestrian warnings. The Sonos premium sound system remains an option. The infotainment runs on Android Automotive OS, so third-party apps installed directly from the Audi application store without needing a phone connection. The Q4 e-tron Performance starts at 53,500 euros, roughly $58,300. The Tesla Model Y in comparable specification costs less and charges faster on its own network, and if charging speed is the priority, that gap matters. The BMW iX1 offers a sportier drive but gives up interior space, boot volume, and the bidirectional charging capability that Audi now includes. The Volvo EX40 matches the premium feel and comes close on range, but lacks the passenger display and the V2L socket. Where the Q4 stands apart is the combination. No rival at this price delivers this interior, this range, and the ability to power your house from the driveway. The segment above, the Q6 e-tron and the BMW iX3, charges 20 to 30% more for a cabin that is better, but not 20 to 30% better. If this is what 53,500 euros buys, roughly $58,300, the price gap to the next tier has a credibility problem it did not have 6 months ago. Anyone cross-shopping a Q6 or an iX3 should sit in this cabin first, because the moment you realize what the entry-level car now offers, the upgrade becomes a harder conversation. The Q4 is for the buyer who wants the Audi interior without the Audi flagship invoice, and this facelift turns that from a compromise into a strategy. If that description fits, this is the version to wait for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. I read every single one. And don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified about my next upload. See you in the next video.